Ross, born in Newport Beach, now living in Costa Mesa, and she has a wicked jump serve. She'll try Misty first, and May with a cut shot. Misty May, most likely the best cut shot in the world, and that is really hard to defend.
Well, especially it is because if you go over to make that play, you leave so much court open. Probably about 90% of the rest of the court is wide open, so it's a tough shot to honor too much.
So May will serve it, and Ross coming in on the right side, right over the top and down. So April Ross, who was the 2006 AVP Rookie of the Year. That's the season she played with one of her teammates at USC, Kay Burdine.
Watch right here. She does such a nice, Ross does such a nice job. She has almost like a hop in her approach, but it's a long step, and it gets her ready and prepared to make a great jump and attack.
Kerry Walsh gets her first serve, and Walsh chopping into the net. Yesterday, Dahlhauser and Rogers, a big favorite over Gibb and Rosenthal, the final match before they went to the Olympics. Gibb and Rosenthal getting the win. Can you see a scenario where Ross and Boss could pull the upset today?
Well, they are looking at this as their Olympics. They were so close, just missed qualifying. It came down to the last event between them and Elaine Youngs and Nicole Branna. Very close competition, so this is their opportunity to shine. They won't get to go over to Beijing.
So here is Kerry Walsh, the two-time MVP in 03-04. Cut shot out of the reach of Misty May. So Jen Boss using the cut shot with effectiveness.
And returning the favor, she puts a little bit of mustard on this, and that's the difference. If you hit that shot with a lot more arc to it, Misty May is going to get that play up, but that ball went down and didn't give the defender time to make it up.
Boss and Ross leading 3-2, and the serve into the net. Well, Misty May and Kerry Walsh have been playing together now since 2001. Misty May, of course, organized a tryout for Kerry Walsh and ended up as partners. 3-3. Boss again. Walsh, left hand. Ross on the right. Swings hard, and she is reached. Action-packed first 7 points.
Walsh twice this play controlling. First the soft block, and then right into the head of April Ross.
We've come to our first break. May Trainer and Walsh leading 4-3. Walsh leading 4-3. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Marlowe, along with Karch Karai. Misty May and Kerry Walsh are undefeated in 2008. They haven't lost a volleyball tournament since August of last season. And Karch, they are rolling right now and peaking at just the right time.
Can you imagine that, going a year without losing? Often they don't even lose a set, but they didn't lose. They're going to continue this streak, I think, right on through the Olympics. It started so well for them when they came back from Europe, Chris. They challenged the best teams overseas and then came back and dominated on their last few AVP events, including last weekend in Brooklyn. Kerry Walsh's shoulder continues to look stronger and stronger after that surgery she had last November.
May and Walsh have been streaking. They've won 17 straight tournaments and 100 straight matches. And Karch, historically, how does this streak stand up against other streaks?
Well, I think it stands up better because some of those streaks you're looking at, those players, those athletes weren't facing the world's best. May and Walsh only facing not only the American, but all the world's best competition, the best Chinese teams, Brazilians, and the others, that they'll have a chance again in a couple of weeks in Beijing.
Boss and Ross down 4-3. And big underdogs today would certainly like to snap that streak if they could. And look at the lifetime record. 17-1. Boss and Ross have never beaten them in a final. But you never know. Gibb and Rosenthal hadn't beaten Dahlhauser and Rogers in 9 tries. Nice up, scooping it over. May goes and gets it. And Misty hits it off the block out of bounds. Point.
Boston Ross doing a nice job here of keeping the ball in play, trying to have a little bit more patience. But if you give May and Walsh too many opportunities, especially a third opportunity, not going to be able to win the play. That time, Jen Boss was trying to take angle, didn't get that left hand across the net, goes out of bounds.
And over the top, Jen Boss lowers the boom. Let's take a look now at the Bud Light tournament recap for May and Walsh.
Yeah, remember, Chris, May and Walsh only have had to play 3 matches. They got one by forfeit, so not much volleyball for them this weekend. Another opportunity for them to keep their rhythm going with just 2 weeks to go till Beijing.
5-4. Here comes Misty. And she is blocked. April Ross up high. Our Bud Light tournament recap for Boston Ross.
On the other side, they barely got through a winner's bracket quarterfinal match there against Turner and Wacholder, another team that challenged for an Olympic berth. Forfeited then yesterday, another long one today. Conditioning could be a factor, and of course the back and neck problems that April Ross has faced, which caused them to forfeit in the first place.
5-5, Ross blocks. And the put away by Carrie Walsh. Walsh is 29. She turns 30 on August 15th.
And she has talked about how she likes to crack the ball just a few times a match as she's coming back stronger and stronger from shoulder surgery. That was one right there, already a bombs away, and it's only 6-5 first set.
Walsh, the serve, and then the approach at the net. Ooh, she gets one. We've talked a lot about Walsh swing blocking and getting her arms up, Karch, that was a perfect example.
That time, really nice technique by Walsh here. She is able to lure. You can see her swing her arms and step a little to her right. The step and the arm swing will help her get more height. And a year ago, Chris, at this very tournament, May and Walsh outscored their opponents by double throughout the course.
And Ross with her patented cross-court cut.
And a lot of that outscoring by double a year ago was thanks to the blocking of Carrie Walsh at the net. One of the things you can see there, April Ross puts her arms really far apart. We saw that at the last Olympics, the old Australian shrink the court down for the opposing server technique.
Now April Ross, her team down 7-6. First set. Glad you're with us on NBC. Nice dig by Ross. Looking to tie it up. Nobody up. Nice up. Walsh. Dunk back. Ross. Misty's got it now. Look out. Ross another dig. That's trouble. Big trouble. And the point to May Walsh. Good rally.
What defense, especially by April Ross back there.
All right, let's take a look at the Crocs Cup standings. Who's on top in the race for the season-ending championship?
Well, May and Walsh would probably have a larger lead, but they went away for a number of events. Now a comfortable 300 points lead, and then they will miss an event next weekend as they prepare to make their trip to Beijing. Some of that ground will be lost, and then it comes down to the last few events in September.
Misty made a serve, little jump floater, 8-6. Misty can't quite get it up high enough for Walsh. So Boss, another kill. Boss's second kill.
And that's the kind of play to keep an eye out. Watch how much extension there is as May goes for this ball. I think she held back a little, and I think that's a wise move there. Going right here, landing on her elbows and not letting her hands go out quite so far. Don't want to really stretch that out with that tender rib from last weekend.
Boss takes a rip. Walsh, nice up. Got a knuckle on it. And Boss, a little bit out of position. Could not negotiate the net.
So far, the thing that's hurting Boston Ross is what we call transition setting, Chris. That's when you've gotten a dig, a defensive play. You need to then put the ball in a great position. Boss with a great up there, but Ross not getting that ball close enough. Jen Boss making a bad decision there to try to crush that ball instead of keeping it in play off a set that's too far off the net.
9-7, Walsh. Nice set. Misty with a dig. Scooping it up. Ross, pivot, left hand. Misty coming in again. Got it.
And there, Chris, we can see the difference in transition setting. Both Walsh's sets in a perfect position off of Misty May defensive plays. Let's watch it again from the start here. Going at Jen Boss on this particular play. Watch how Walsh works so hard to get to this ball, get it in a good position for Misty May to attack. And then she'll get another opportunity, Walsh will, to make another great set. Don't give Misty May a second opportunity. That ball that'll go down every time.
So Walsh to serve. Here comes April Ross. And Ross takes the rip. She was a very gifted outside hitter on the left for Mick Haley and the USC Trojans. A couple of national championships there. This is what she does well, Cart. Shuffle left and bang it.
Absolutely. Well, she's talked before about how she's often really hard on herself. She wants to make every ball a better play, a perfect play. And if she makes a mistake, it just feels like there's no excuse for it. But at the same time, she feels that attitude helps her play better.
Ross rips it down the line for an ace.
And that's the kind of play that Ross was able to execute against Brennan Young's. Not a clean ace, but one that's so hard that it rips right off the arms of Kerry Walsh. Walsh has to be stronger with her platform out there. That's something that Coach Troy Tanner works on with both May and Walsh.
10-9. Ross, another powerful serve. Coming over, and the post. Boss ties it up at 10. Let's go down to Mike Dodd.
Thanks, Chris. April Ross, I talked to her just before the match. She said that her back is feeling good. She's taken a lot of medication, but she knows she has certain limitations. She says it's actually helping her jump serve because she knows she has to make a perfect toss so she doesn't get moved too far to the left or right, and it's making her jump serve even better right now. She served great in the semis, and she's continuing here in the final.
She is smoking that serve at 10-10, and she swerves it out of bounds left. So the service error costs a point. We're in the midst of the first set. Boss and Ross trailing by 1. Misty May, one of the great college volleyball players of all time at Long Beach State. Indoors, the National Player of the Year twice. Led Long Beach to an undefeated season. 38-0. Now, this is part of the video, Long Beach State and Penn State. And Misty May, a gifted setter, Karch.
And you know what's unusual, Chris? You see her using that overhand setting motion. You never see her do that on the beach. A lot of people wonder, wow, she has such great hands. Why doesn't she use them? She does it in practice, but hasn't developed quite the confidence yet. Her bump set's working too well for Kerry Walsh.
So Brian Chimolaro, the head coach at Long Beach, one of the great coaches in the country. And their assistant, Debbie Green, had a lot to do with the setting.
Yeah, but you could see her here practicing her bump setting. Remember, she put one too close earlier to Kerry Walsh, an overset, actually, and Jen Boss, who was blocking at the net, scored on the play.
Of course, Misty then, Karch, going on to the USA national team for a brief time.
Played for the coach who is now coaching at USC, Mick Haley, who was the national team coach at the time. And
Walsh with the block.
Just felt like she was losing some of the love of the game. Felt like there was too many hours they had to spend in the gym and traveling all over the world, and wanted her summers back out on the beach. So less than a year later, she was out trying to qualify, and did qualify with Holly McPeak for the Sydney Olympics.
Ross shoves it over on 2. Big play here, Boss. Got it! Jen Boss.
And the difference there was that Jen Boss actually April Ross with a great transition set off her own block. Watch this. It's a blind set, but she gets the ball within 2 feet of the net. Easy play for Boss to make. Earlier we saw one go about 7 feet off the net. They have to make a very high percentage of those plays to beat the best team in the world.
Here comes Walsh. And Walsh guiding it into the corner. Kerry's 29. She's going to turn 30 in the midst of the Olympics on August 15th. Of course, a very athletic family. Her father, Tim Walsh, a former baseball player in the Oakland A's organization. Her mom, a 2-time MVP volleyball player at Santa Clara. And it's another point. So Misty May and Kerry Walsh have assumed a 14-11 lead now. A reminder, stay tuned for your chance to block with the best, the Banana Boat, by entering for a chance to win a trip to the AVP Croc Shootout. Nice dig there. That's the Shootout Championship in Manhattan Beach. Banana Boat, official sun care of the AVP.
Kerry Walsh doing a nice job right now, Chris, of putting pressure on the opposing team, Boss Ross, and that means serving really hard, short seam. First of all, they have to make a decision who is going to pass it, but then both have to move to that ball. So Walsh opening this game up with some tough serving.
3 straight points for May Walsh. Boss. And Boss right to Misty. You know, I've seen that a little bit from Boss Ross watching in the semifinals. He got a pretty good call there live and yet hit an angle. That's part of that communication you always talk about.
It's crucial because if you hit softly to the wrong spot, it's the easiest play to make defensively.
First set, May and Walsh up 16-11. The AVP on NBC will continue after these messages. Stay tuned. 1988 Olympic gold medalist and coach for May Walsh. And just a moment ago, talking to his team. Listen.
Hey, I really like your approach right now. You know, it just doesn't seem like you're rushing it at all. It's out in front, easy side out. Your cross court side out was nice and easy too. The ball's out front here. Nice rhythm.
A huge focus for Coach Tanner, especially with Kerry Walsh, is trying to wait and approach slow to fast and keep the ball in front of her. Hitters sometimes have a tendency to rush in and get under the ball, and then they lose some of their court vision peripherally.
Nice dig by Misty, 16-11. Boss. And Boss is blocked by Kerry Walsh. For more, let's go down to the sand and join Heather.
Well, guys, after hearing Troy Tanner, you might wonder, when you're the coach of the top team in the world, what on earth do you work on? Crazy new techniques, maybe some complex strategies? No, in fact, Tanner told me he learned a simple lesson when watching the LA Lakers play. Kobe Bryant had missed 2 days of practice due to illness and then played in the game the next day. Suddenly, he was horrific and kept turning the ball over, and Tanner said in watching that game, he learned that even Kobe Bryant lost his fundamentals when he went 2 days without practicing them. So Tanner's gone back to the basics with Misty and Kerry. Every day in practice, it's about the fundamentals, their platform, their passing, and their footwork. And guys, it certainly seems to be working.
Yeah, Walsh talks about they do some of the most boring drills they've ever done in the first hour of many of their practices, but it's so important to have that right angle with your arms, and they've really cleaned up their game, and that's why they haven't lost in almost a year.
That broke a 6-0 scoring run for May Walsh. Much needed here for Jen Boss.
One of the few times that Kerry Walsh hasn't touched the ball. She has 5 blocks so far in only this first set.
Now April Ross with it. Ross off the tape.
There's another problem with the transition setting, Chris. April Ross sending that ball a little low and too close to the net, not taking care of that first contact. So Jen Boss, in trying to save it, watch right here, it shoots toward the net. All Jen Boss can do is try to save it a little bit. They should have gotten a perfect play out of that, and you really have to beat the best team ever.
Boss and Ross with 8 errors here in the first set, and it's cost them. And a nice cut shot. Well, you mentioned the blocking of Kerry Walsh, Karch. The women's net is 7'4 1/4. Walsh can reach almost 8 feet standing. I think she has a little bit longer reach than you do.
So she and Phil Dahlhauser both have about an 8-inch. They could just stand there and block and just put their hands up above the net. But with the jump, it makes them very imposing.
19-13, Boss Ross trying to come back, and that's a good way to get it going. A hard jump serve right down the pipe.
Now we'll watch this from the end zone perspective here. There's a big seam right down the middle that those two have to control, and they have to figure out every single play. It's important to talk about who has how much of the middle here. And so Misty may be leaning in a little, or down the line thinking that Jen Boss might try to switch and hit a different area of the court with this next serve.
May Walsh by 5.
Missy,
Swatted back. Walsh over Ross. Point. Now Carrie Walsh with a nice finesse shot.
Let's listen into their communication here. Misty saying, come on. Listen to May's call here. She called line and then changed it back. And Walsh listening so well. Her finesse game's gotten so good after that shoulder surgery.
So here we go. First set point for May Walsh at 20-14. Ross rejected by Walsh. Stretching out her sixth stuff block here in the first set. Wow. So the first set goes to May Walsh, 21-14. We'll continue with our coverage of the AVP on NBC after this. AVP, Croc Slam, Bud Light, Long Beach Open continuing. First set going to May and Walsh easily, 21-14. Karch Karai, the stats, well, blocking certainly a big factor.
Well, the big one there, 6 blocks for Carrie Walsh, who averages only a little over a block per set. So she's 6 times her average. That's going to be a big factor for them to whack the foreign competition, is how her blocking will be in Beijing.
All right, how did Carrie do it? Let's go down to Heather Cox, a beach peek with Carrie Walsh.
Indeed, back on the sand with a chance to talk a little strategy with Carrie. Now, Carrie, in that first game, really neck and neck until a 6-0 run broke it apart, thanks to 6 blocks by you. What adjustments did you make to make your blocks so much better?
You know, I think we serve tough, and I think that gets them in a little trouble. Their sets aren't where they want it, and I'm just trying to be big up there. They're very big hitters, you know, and I think the longer my hands are to the net, the better I have a chance I have it blocking it. So I want to do that. They're not shooting a lot right now, you know, so it's my job to block balls.
After the semifinals, you told me you were disappointed in the way that you finished that match. What did you learn from that match that will help you finish better here in Game 2?
To finish. You know, we play Holly McPeak and Angie Akers, who are playing awesome volleyball right now, and they started serving really tough at the end, and we kind of fell apart. And these girls do serve tough from the beginning, you know, to the very end. So we just want to finish. We want to play ahead. Pass the ball is what the game's all about, Heather. I feel like this deja vu. I'm going to pass better this game.
It's a simple game. We'll let you get back to it, Carrie. Let's head over to the other side of the net with Mike and April.
Thank you, Heather. April, the back looks great. You're making a lot of really good defensive plays, but you guys aren't able to convert in your transition. I got to think that's a key coming here into the second set.
You know, that was a big thing for us last weekend, and we practiced all week, and right now it's not translating. This is the first match it hasn't translated. The thing about missing carries, they make you mess up. I don't know how, but they do, and we just need to focus on our side of the net.
Jump serving a key as well also.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. You feel like you have to jump serve better and better against this team than any other team, and it makes you make mistakes. So we just got to do what we always do.
All right, good luck. Karch, Chris, great teams make you make mistakes.
Yeah, interesting comments by April Ross. 9 errors for Boss and Ross, and maybe that's the best description I've ever heard of May and Walsh. How come they beat you? Well, they make you mess up.
That they do, and I think Boss and Ross need to change their strategy a little and make Misty May beat them now. They lost horrendously there by getting blocked. Keep the ball. They hit so much. Even Walsh said it. They hit hard, so my job is to block a lot of those. They need to shoot just like that. Go with more of a finesse game, because then they at least have a chance to win the ball later in the rally. If Carrie Walsh stuffs the ball down, the play is dead.
Well, that was one of the key factors yesterday with Gibbon Rosenthal and their upset. Rosenthal not hitting so much, but moving the ball around, cut shot, cuff line, and then the hit.
Right. They don't want to let Phil Dahlhauser beat them. They want to make Todd Rogers beat them. So here today, Boss and Ross have to do a better job in this second set of making Misty May beat them, not Carrie Walsh blocking at the net. Again, Carrie Walsh showing off her improved finesse game. She does a nice job. You see how that ball is a little in front of her. That's just what Coach Tanner wants her to keep that in front so she can see the blocker, see the defense, see the open spots on the court.
1-1 here at the start of the second set. Interestingly, Karch, you had mentioned that Walsh was doing a lot of the damage. Walsh has received 10 serves. May has only received 3 serves, so that is part of the Boss and Ross, or at least it has been part of their strategy to go after Carrie Walsh.
And part of that is when they're serving really hard, they don't necessarily have as much control on where it goes. Now they're going to let up a little, maybe try something different and go at May Walsh. Go at Misty May here.
Nice up. No, it's going left.
So Boss was there. They need to file that play away, though. Boss was there. That is, to me, a point-scoring opportunity. They tried something different. Went to Misty May. Got in good position to make the defensive play. Boss doesn't come up with it. But they tried something different. Elise had a touch on the ball.
Oh, Misty May to serve it. 2-2 our score. Misty's got it. April Ross on the right. And once again, the call not clicking in. The call is angle.
That's exactly right, Chris. We heard angle. Let's listen to the whole play again. Communication's so critical here. You're going to hear in just a second. Once the ball gets back to Boston Ross, here comes the call, angle. But April Ross not able to listen, and you give May Walsh a second opportunity, it's not going to happen.
One of my old partners, one of the greats, Ron Von Hagen, always used to talk about clicking in to your partner's call. You have to be able to hear it and process it as Walsh. Over the top. Carrie Walsh, her 5th kill and another point.
Well, some players will actually listen for that call and rely on it a lot. Others rely on their own vision and only rely on the call from their partner in an emergency situation.
4-2, and the floater goes long. Timeout. Set number 2. Misty May and Carrie Walsh with the lead. Coley Kyman, the coach for Boss Ross, just a moment ago addressing his team.
4 or 5 points. We did a great job. We were in the right position. We had a chance on it. She's giving you an angle call, and you didn't go to it, which is fine, but you know it's there. Good idea. And then on the defense play, when we served Misty, we came back. Exactly what you did. We wanted to float, try something different, and we were there. You just missed the dig. I mean, you'll get that next time.
Well, Coach Kyman is talking about positioning. A huge part of beach volleyball, Chris, is getting your body to the right spot. That's what Boston Ross are doing very well. They're positioning themselves well. Then you have to make the contact and put the ball in a good position. That's where they're struggling a little more with their setting.
Pretty good serve there. Walsh, right to Ross. Chance to tie it up right here. Ross, no! Walsh is there again. Lucky number 7 on the block.
And that time, Boston Ross getting the good pass, the good set, but still hitting hard to the wrong area. Walsh taking this line shot. I think they would be better off trying not to let Walsh beat them with the block. Get the block, it kills the play. But if you hit a softer shot, even if Misty May gets it up, they could still win the rally later on.
5-3, Walsh. Ross, and once again, the call not clicking in.
But they get another opportunity this time.
Good call there, and they get a break.
So twice they went with finesse. They keep it alive. They win the point. Got to try to take some mustard off those hits and not give Walsh so many opportunities now with 7 blocks. This one, almost a point for Walsh here, hanging, swatting. But Jen Boss comes up with it, over and down for the point. Misty May expecting that ball to stay on the other side of the net there. Unusual contact by Boss.
Boss will serve it, 5-4. And Walsh tees off right through the hands of April Ross.
One thing's for sure, Chris, this is a very good preparation for May and Walsh at the Olympics, facing these tough jump serves. The one time they may have trouble against some of the foreign competition is when those foreign teams, a couple of the Brazilian players, a couple of the Chinese players get really hot with their serve. So April Ross so strong with her serving.
So the line call clicks in that time, and an easy kill for Boss. We've mentioned that Boss and Ross have only won 1 tournament in their career in Stavanger, Norway. The interesting part of that, Karch, they came out of nowhere. They were the 29th seed. That's the lowest seed in international history to ever come through and win a tournament.
And they had to play 3 phases in that. First is what's called the country quota, where they had to play other American teams just to get the right to then move on to the qualifier. Boss with a block by Boss there. Then one through the qualifier, and then one right out through the main draw. And that, they got an extra big score in Olympic qualification. Got 800 points. That carried them very far, almost all the way to an Olympic berth.
Haven't won on the AVP Tour. And just that one win in Norway, a Grand Slam event, bundles of points and money. And Walsh and May, their calls are precise. Of course, they've been playing together for, well, this is their 8th year. When you hear that line, and Misty clicking in right away.
And maybe to explain to people who haven't played as much, when you call line, that means the open spot of the court behind, in that case, behind the defender. It means behind the blocker. The defender would be in the ankle position, so she's calling. And that time the call was line and then no one. Correct call. Adjustment. Walsh drops off the net. So there's no one. You swing away.
Second set, we are swinging away here in Long Beach. May Walsh, Boss Ross tied at 7. With Karch Garai, Heather Cox, and Mike Dodd. May and Walsh won the first set easily, 21-14. But Boss and Ross have come back in this second set and are playing with confidence.
And part of it is that they went away from some of the hard hitting, which Walsh was rejecting so well at the net, and going with the softer shots, keeping the ball in play, giving themselves an opportunity to win those long rallies.
Story of the match has been Walsh at the net and May digging behind. Walsh with 7 blocks. And Misty with 11, and I'll make it 13 digs. And Boss got it. Wow. That must have cost the last strand on the outside of the line, and Walsh is going to appeal.
Well, the ball mark is out, but if the ball hit the line on the way out and made it jump, and both the referee, Brantley, and the linesman saw that play hit the rope as it goes across. See if we can see that rope through the net cord there. Just ticking it.
I'll go look for you.
And B. Lee is going to get off the referee stand and go look.
But did you hear that? For you, I'll go look. For Kerry Walsh, for Misty May, certainly got to take a look at it.
Did you see that in? You see the rope jump?
I'm too far away to see the rope jump, but the referee and the linesman, they both were so sure about that. Uh-oh. Now he'll make his ruling here. Let's listen.
That was in. Definitely hit.
All right. Brantley making the call.
Decisive.
Yeah. So Boss Ross go ahead 8-7.
And the thing that won them that play was a great transition set from April Ross after she came down as a blocker.
Boss and Ross looking good here in the second set. And Walsh out of bounds. So make it 9-7. Walsh continues to get more of the serve. She's been served 14 times. Misty only 6. Back on Kerry. You think that Misty is setting Kerry Walsh too low in some of those plays?
Well, she doesn't have a lot of follow-through with her arms on that forearm passing motion, and so sometimes it's a little hard for Walsh to read. That's what's hard, is she finds herself rushing in a little bit. Coach Tanner's been talking about it. Wait. But sometimes when it is a little low, like you said, you find yourself rushing in a little more.
Ross goes on 2. Misty with a beautiful dig. Here she comes. Whammer. Nice dig, Boss. Misty, the one-hand save. Oh, Walsh got it.
Wow, what a play by both teams here. Let's listen in to speed that this ball is hitting the players. Great overhand contact by Jen Boss there.
How did Misty get that up there?
Boss moving one way, but still able to get the right hand out. Can't keep it on her side of the net, though. One more look at it. Both players showing off You try in volleyball to contact the ball with two arms locked together, but there are times when you have to use one, and both players that time, May on one side of the net and Boss on the other, showing how great they are with one hand.
Helps to have the one-arm bandit in the arsenal. Ross and Misty right there, shoveling it over. Boss got it. When Boss and Ross get their calls correct, they're doing a very effective job at moving the ball around.
But they got one call wrong, and they still won the rally because they didn't get blocked by Walsh. They kept the ball in play and won it the second try, and they're in much better shape this second set doing that. Hitting harder less, using the softer shot more.
So change of strategy for Boss Ross. And pounding it through, Kerry Walsh with a big blast.
You notice Kerry Walsh bringing some more heat here the last 3 or 4 swings she's had. One out down the line, another hard one deep middle, and then this third one kind of middle angle there. But it's the sign of the health and strength of her shoulder that she can choose more and more often to hit hard when she needs to.
Walsh has had 2 shoulder surgeries, the first in '97 and the second in November of last year. Time now for our Nautica.com Navigate the Season. One more event in San Diego, and then the Olympics in Beijing. The Crocs Cup Shootout presented by Bud Light begins in Mason, Ohio. You'll see that on NBC. It concludes in Manhattan Beach for the AVP Championship September. That'll be September 19th through the 21st. Total purse of $1 million will be up for grabs. So the season continues as Boss goes to serve it. And they're still working on Walsh. Set is low. Boss has got it. And she missed it. On an open net, she missed. So that will tie it up at 11.
That's one of the things that Walsh will do, and Walsh doing a nice adjustment here. If Boss and Ross are hitting softly, Walsh figures, well, I'll drop off and get that soft shot. So at the last second, Jen Boss realizes, oh, I have to hit hard this play. Not quite in the right position, launches it out of bounds.
Oh, Misty May, who grew up playing soccer and participating in track and field in addition to volleyball. She's a tremendous athlete, maybe not as recognized as that ball goes over the top. In fact, Misty May high jumped 5'10.5" her sophomore year in high school, which would have qualified her for the final of the 2000 U.S. Olympic track and field trials.
Finished second in the state and actually competed in track and field 1 year. We showed her at Long Beach State, competed her freshman year before she decided, well, that's just taking too much of my time.
A big serve there for Boston Ross.
And this is where getting that platform out is so important. Kerry Walsh a little late getting it out, and the ball pushes her platform around just the opposite of the way she wants to do it. Great serve down the line. Let's see if April Ross goes right back that way to Walsh's left.
Boss watching Ross, and Ross wings it sideways.
She was trying to get it there, but the toss didn't allow it. The toss went too far to her left, and then she tried to put it back down the line. Not in a great position.
Now Kerry Walsh. Takes the back set. And there's a good call. Hey, Cards, they said left instead of line or angle.
And there they don't have to worry about what line means, what angle means. It's just listen in here, the difference in the call. And you'll see the open spot of the court is going to be over on this side. Left. Which the other thing does is it screws up the defender because she's thinking, well, wait, left, my left or their left?
Good call there. A little change in verbiage there. And Misty May pounds one through. Of course, Misty May growing up in a athletic family. Her dad, Butch May, part of that 1968 men's indoor Olympic team. The first ever USA team to beat the Russians. They did it in the opening match in Mexico City in '68. The next night, they played Czechoslovakia. They lost the first game 15-0. The second game, they were tied when Larry Rundle One of their stars blew out his ankle. All right, we'll have more. A good one. Second set, May Walsh, Boss Ross at 14. The AVP Croc Slam Bud Light Long Beach Open in the midst of our women's championship final. May Walsh won the first set. It was tied at 10 in that first set, and then May Walsh scoring 11 of the next 15 to win easily 21-14. Here in the second set, it's been seesaw. Boss and Ross playing much better. We are tied at 14. Chris Marlowe with Karch Garai, Heather Cox, and Mike Dodd. Misty May on the left. And Boss with a dig. Boss poking. Misty goes and gets it. Boss will try it again. Walsh is up. And over the top goes Boss.
And you can hear right at the end, April Ross with the great call, cut, cut. They're trying all kinds of calls. Angle, line, left, right. That time it was cut. Cut a thin slice here. And Jen Boss adjusting nicely, finding on their third try. See, they kept the ball away from the Walsh block and gave themselves a chance to win that long rally.
Jen Boss slowly but surely working her way up the AVP Tour. Now her partner April Ross set to serve. They're up by 1. Ooh, just missing wide. Is there good side, bad side today, Karch?
It's a slightly better side on the right side of your screen. The wind is blowing a little bit left to right, and in volleyball you much prefer to have the wind at your face. You can hit the ball harder at the net and hit the ball harder with your serve.
April Ross and nobody up, and Ross circling. So Kerry Walsh, she went to Stanford for a reason. Very bright gal.
When the opponents aren't hitting hard anymore, they go with the finesse play, the soft shot, and Walsh making a great decision and backing off the net, challenging Boss and Ross to get back to hard hitting.
See if Ross goes for the blast this time. Nope, tries to tap. Walsh was there. And banking it through was Boss. Boss, of course, in the white hat.
And this ball, actually, watch, Jen Boss is going to run way outside. She wants the ball to almost shoot out to the sideline and beat Walsh there. Walsh a little mad at herself. The ball was close. She had an opportunity to block it, but just a little late with her left hand.
16 all. And Kerry Walsh drops it through.
And there's an example of a good non-listen. Misty May calling line, but in fact the angle was open. Walsh doing a great job of seeing that, hitting it right over the block into that soft area.
In 2003, May and Walsh went undefeated, winning every tournament and not losing a single match. And they're on that pace again here in 2008, 5 years later.
Well, it started in 03, went through 04, and they seem to get to their best, be at their best when it counts most. 04 was their biggest year of their career. Now 2008 is the biggest year of their career, and they've got that 100-match winning streak. Winning today would take them to 101.
On the line today at 17 all, just out of bounds. So Ross with a couple of service errors, one wide and one long. And a side switch.
I think Jen Boss going to go take a little look at that mark. She thought it might have been in.
They're eyeballing it.
One of the things that the referees will do between timeouts and stoppages, they will smooth the sand out so any ball mark stands out better.
Now here's my point. Boston Ross should go right over to Brant Lee and say, come down and take a look at this. May and Walsh did it. You got to do it the same way. You got to go over to the first referee and tell him to come down.
And remember,
right now,
for you, I'll go look. Let's see if he'll do it.
You got to appeal Jen Boss and April Ross. If that's close enough, that could be the difference in this set.
That's awfully close. I would certainly ask the referee to take a look at that mark, and awfully courageous of Walsh to let that go. One of the cardinal rules in volleyball is if you don't know, you must play the ball. Walsh obviously knew and let it go, even if it was an inch or two out.
May and Walsh leading here in Long Beach, 18-17 here in the second set. May and Walsh's 17 tournament streak is on the line. May and Walsh have also won 100 consecutive matches. This is Kerri Walsh with a serve. Boston Ross trying to hang in. It's 18-17. And a nice call and execution. Impressive playing by Boston Ross.
And that time Walsh was trying to dive into the middle a little. Didn't take fully line all of her area there. Left a little bit of space that Jen Boss was able to just slip. Just about a ball's width there. Goes past the left hand of Kerri Walsh.
Big opportunity now for Boston Ross. They got a little wind in their face. Should be able to make that jump serve hum. Misty. Boss is there. And once again, a transition play. A little bit windy on that one side. Couldn't quite get it done.
Well, Boss did a great job here of taking, watch, she pulls her hands back to take a little of the speed off that ball. But her partner, April Ross, not quite able to get the set where she needed to. Another transition opportunity lost because of a misplaced set.
19-18 now. And Ross is wide. So Misty May and Kerri Walsh have come to 20-18. Boston Ross called timeout. Crowd is up. There's Misty and Kerri trying to extend their records.
Remember, Boston Ross had come through the losers bracket, Chris, and so they're really trying to hydrate well. Sometimes when you've taken in tremendous amounts of fluids, you have to take a timeout, take a little #1 pit stop there, and Boss seemed to run off the court and wants to probably get their thoughts together too.
Oh, Misty and Kerri closing in on another victory. Let's go down to Heather Cox. Heather?
Well, guys, you were talking about the focus and the drive and winning 100 straight for Kerri and Misty. So the big question is, what are they doing between now and August 8th when the Beijing Games begin? They will not play in the AVP event next week in San Diego. Misty and Kerri will go down to support Kerri's husband, Casey Jennings, do a little bit of the media, but she told me they'll spend the rest of the time practicing and in therapy. Now, why is practice so important? Because they actually play with a different ball. They'll play with a Mikasa ball internationally instead of a Wilson. It's much different. It's heavier. It needs to be guided more. It's not as spongy as a Wilson, so it's going to take some time to adapt. And, Cart, you know better than anybody, how much time will it take for them to adapt to the new ball before they head to China?
I don't think it'll take them more than a few days, but another reason they need practice is just because they haven't had any. Misty was busy working on a rib all week long, and it's time for that team to kind of get their mojo going with Troy Tanner this week before they head off to Beijing.
Misty May and Kerri Walsh on the brink. They lead here in the second set, 20-18. They have won 17 consecutive tournaments and 100 straight matches, and they're trying to wrap up another one. They're tuned up for Beijing. Can they get it done today? Now Misty set to serve. Crowd standing here on championship court. First championship point. Ross. Misty's got it. This could be it. Misty May. Not yet. Kerri Walsh for the win. No, not yet. Walsh to try it again. Got it! Misty May and Kerri Walsh are headed to Beijing on a monster win streak. They have now won 18 tournaments in a row and 101 consecutive matches. Look out.
And if they could go on and win in the Olympics, it would be Walsh's 100th career victory.